Hello and welcome to the channel. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Really appreciate it. So let's talk about The Crew. So obviously, Ubisoft has decided to pretty much take this game offline. It was live service game, but still has has an element of a single player game. But what I don't understand is if you're gonna have a live service game, it should never shut down at all. But the cost of servers or whatever. So the only people that's getting screwed here is the gamers, and game preservation. Obviously, game preservation is out the window because The Crew is dead. So even if you have it in your catalog, it doesn't matter. And sometimes these companies will actually take the games from you and you no longer own it unless you have a physical copy, but it's still unplayable because it requires online service of some kind for you to play it. Which is funny because they released another game, The Crew Motorfest. So my question is, why couldn't they just link The Crew, the original game, with Motorfest, like make it like an addition to The Crew? Why would you create another game called The Crew Motorfest and then just decide to kill your original game that maybe some people are still enjoying? People will never get to play this game now because it's delisted from everywhere and you can't play it because it requires online. And I'm sure Ubisoft decides that, hey, we're not going to keep paying money for these servers anymore. We're going to free up our servers and we're gonna take away your game. So it kind of defeats the purpose. Like, this is crazy. Something that you spent your hard-earned money on is now gone, and you can no longer play it. You can never access it again. I spent money on this fucking game. I have a physical copy of The Crew myself, somewhere in a drawer. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and check out the article. The Crew is reportedly being revoked from Ubisoft Connect's account. Ubisoft is reportedly removing The Crew from buyers' accounts following a server shutdown last month. Ubisoft has been accused of stealing from customers after revoking access to Crew. Following the server shutdown last month, buyers are confirming they no longer have access to the game, which is seemingly being removed from Ubisoft Connect's account. The whole ordeal has once again sparked concerns over digital rights and preservation. And that's the only thing that sucks about buying games, digitally, because at any point they can decide to take the licensing away from you anytime they want. Like, soon as the only company that I know that has not done that specifically is Microsoft, when they delisted Forza Motorsport 5 due to music licensing, because if you still bought the game, you can still play it. So even if you have a digital copy of Forza Motorsports 5, you can still play it. If you have a physical copy of the game, you can play it. But certain companies, they will take your licensing and then also just kind of like remove the game from your purchase history. We've seen that happen too, to where Discovery and that whole ordeal with Sony where they were taking people's purchases away. So this is not good, especially when it comes to digital purchasing games digitally or any kind of software digitally. They can revoke that licensing. And to me, I'm more of a buying physical copies, owning the game, even though sometimes there's nothing on the games, especially now. Like, some companies will release a game on a disc as well as digitally, but you still have to download the whole game on the internet. So a couple of years from now down the road, when those games are no longer accessible, so if you purchase yourself a brand new copy of, I think Modern Warfare 2 or something like that, where they ship the game with just like 100 gig or 100 megabyte of data on the physical disc, and you still have to download the whole game on your console. But what happens if you have a really shitty internet? That would take forever. to download, and you could never play it. Just saying down the road, if those companies go out of business or the servers are no longer up, you can never play those games again. Last year, it was announced that the open world racing title, though, the Crew, would be delisted from storefronts and its server shut down in 2024, as developer Ubisoft claimed it was necessary to do so due to server infrastructure licensing constraints, with the Crew being an online-only title. It meant that the game was made completely unplayable when the servers were eventually shut down. They should have an option, just like the Marvel's video game. Even though that was a live service games, there was still an element of where you can play the game offline because it has a story element. So you can still play the game offline without having to connect to the servers, which is cool. I'll give them props for that. Now, just 2 weeks after the shutdown, those who previously owned the Crew are now accusing Ubisoft of stealing from them, as there have been several reports of players completely losing access to the game after being revoked from their Ubisoft Connect account. YouTuber accused firms has been campaigning to stop the destruction of games for quite some time, and has claimed on Twitter that they've been receiving several reports of people losing access to the Crew despite having paid for the title. I'm getting reports on people that revoked their accounts on Ubisoft Connect. I'm not sure that even matters. They made it inoperable anyway, but many in Europe seems to think that this is illegal. Maybe it doesn't change our plans either way. It can only help. So even if they take away the licensing where the game is not operable, why are they taking it away from your account? They should just leave it there, even though you could never play it. So honestly, this is bad. This is bad for gaming, and just like digital media in general, like I've talked about early on in the video. This is bullshit, and it makes me, I don't know. I'm just concerned about that whole digital future that most of these companies have been pushing down our throats, forcing us to buy these games or digitally. They want us to go all digital, but they're not helping themselves out or helping gamers. They're thinking about profits, because most of these companies, honestly, they make more money if you buy it digitally, because they don't have to go through or they don't have to pay anybody else or anything like that. They don't have to pay Walmart. They don't have to pay Best Buy. They don't have to pay Target. They don't have to pay any of these distribution avenues if you decide to buy the game physically. It's way more profitable to do it digitally. But if you're going to do it digitally, make sure we can keep our products. Make sure we can never lose access to games or services or shows or whatever, or any other digital media that we have access to. That should be every company's number one rule, that we can never lose what we buy digitally. And unfortunately, that's not certain. You could still lose everything. You can lose your movies that you bought digitally. You can lose your shows that you bought digitally, and you can lose your games that you bought digitally. So nothing is safe when it comes to digital distribution right now. But it is what it is. So I'm going to continue to invest in physical games, even the live service ones, because why not? Even though I'll never get to play them when the servers go down, but at least I know that I at least have a copy of it, even though it's inoperable and I can't play it. But you guys let me know in the comments below. As always, make sure to like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you in the next video.